we're gonna get the game started here. I quite like, Josh, as well, that we've had this thousands of years of at times very bitter rivalries between the UK and France, but as it's developed, very recently it's turned into more of a bit of a friendly rivalry. I think that's something quite nice about that if you look at the course of it. I mean, at some point they were at war for 100 years. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous to go from that to now just like kind of cheering against one another in football and whatnot. So I quite like that. It's almost like a message that no matter how long you might think you're going to be holding a grudge, eventually it will fade away. I quite like that.
What a wonderful lesson in political ramifications of war we're getting here from Bren, and the intertwining of your economic realities, tends to produce that kind of situation. I think, though, that the London Spitfire and the Paris Eternal have actually kind of been not so much rivals against each other, but rivals against the rest of the league this time around. This year has really been them playing on high ping, inviting other people to compete against them on like this 90, 100 ping kind of scenario, and seeing who can do the better out of the two. It's clearly been the Paris Eternal over the course of this season, but the London Spitfire have a great opportunity today to be able to snag the first win and then really have another rivalry matchup with Vancouver, who could both be at 1 and whatever it is, 1 and 13, 1 and 14.
Yes, it's looking interesting, and Spark is going to be in the starting lineup as well. This is something that the desk was pointing out as well. They wanted to see this happen. Today could be the day. Josh, you were saying it's coming home potentially. This one match out of the 15th. This will be now.
Yep.
0-14 is what the London Spitfire's record is sitting at.
And it has been an absolutely brutal season for this squad. They were the winningest roster that had ever been put together in European contenders. They come into the big leagues, into the Overwatch League, and it all crumbles. I mean, it has just been brutal. They've been close at times. They've sent people to extremely excruciating 5-map series. They nearly managed to upset the San Francisco Shock. But at the end of the day, it's a big old goose egg in that win column. Not a single one. And today they're fielding their two best DPS players, in my opinion, Shax and Sparker. I think Custer is right on the money there, expecting them to come out with the Tracer, the Hangzhou, and that should be the strength that they can rely on to at least make this a close game.
A geese egg, particularly oval?
Yes, yeah. Extremely oval, extremely large, and only one is called a goose, Brent, not a geese.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a good thing I don't talk for a living. Anyway, Paris Eternal, here's their starting lineups, and yeah, they're going to be running Suna and Naga. Suna on the Tracer as well, most likely as well, is where they've been kind of playing him. Naga in particular as well has been absolutely dominant on the Pharah, especially with these Pharah comps that are all the rage these days, obviously being popularized by a lot of the APAC teams and seeing the strength of them. They have been putting them to work and getting some reasonable results out of it as well.
I think the Paris Eternal, though, is still in the stage of trying to figure out when they should be running Naga on Pharah. They tried to run him constantly at the beginning, and they came out with a great result against the Dallas Fuel, and everyone's thinking, all right, this is Paris Eternal's stage. They're going to go 4-0, 3-1 at a minimum. And now this stage has become a serious underperformance, and I think part of that is them trying to figure out when to put Naga on Pharah. Against the Boston Uprising, they tried to force it all the time, and they just got completely shut down and delivered Boston the only win of the stage that they've managed to secure. So Paris are now trying to figure out when and which maps they should be putting him on that role. They got a lot of success out of running Orisa Pharah comps in that attempt at a reverse sweep yesterday against the Toronto Defiant, but in the end they just couldn't pull through once it got back to control.
Certainly couldn't. Busan is going to be the opening map that we're going to be heading towards. So both these teams are going to be battling it out. Plenty of opportunities to run the Pharah, but as you said, Josh, it comes to the adaptations over the course of it. And it is a lot on the line for both of these teams. And I don't know why I giggled when I said that, because it is actually true. Both of these teams looking for the win here today as well, for the Countdown Cup clinching scenario as well. They want to be making it into the play-ins. Obviously, the loser of this match won't be able to make it into that. For Paris, it's slightly larger in scope as well. On top of it, it's not just the Countdown Cup play-ins that they're playing for, but the postseason play-ins. Paris need to win, and they will be in. So massive ramifications coming off the back of this series right here between both these teams, on top of the pride of Europe as well that comes alongside it.
Yeah, it is actually an incredibly meaningful game. And there's a lot of similarities here between London's situation and Vancouver's. You know, Paris and Boston were in the exact same scenario coming into the Countdown Cup. A lot of hopes, and both teams have kind of flopped. And Vancouver found that awesome win over the Boston Uprising. Can London do the same against a Paris Eternal that looks to be struggling right now?
Complete mirror compositions on either side. We see the legs being locked in. Already that power drive to set it up. The Paris Eternal looking to get a bit of that damage in. Nice little Helix rocket from Naga. Off to the side. Chunks a few of them down, but Vistola's taking out the mech early. Gonna have to go aggressive here, trying to turn the tide of the fight, but already it is the London Spitfire who absorb the aggression. It'll be a team fight win for them as well off the back of it.
Yeah, that early D-Mech on Vistola was so important. Didn't exactly see how that one managed to happen, but they trade Zens at the exact same time, and then it's Sparker on an off angle that makes all of the difference. Paris looked like they had the positioning advantage, but that D-Mech is just, it's massively important. The D.Va defense matrix absorbs all this long-range poke. If they're not up, it's hopeless.
A lot of this point just being capped up right now. Suna looking to try and potentially blink up to the high ground, but just gets chunked down. No more recall. Won't be able to take an aggressive fight, but the point is being contested pretty heavily. Still, Dan falling is never ideal. Losing the ball player. That's largely the way that you're setting up and initiating these fights. You have to back off away from this, but maybe an opportunity with Reaper going down. No more Discord Orb. An opportunity, absolutely. The pulse bomb comes through, only going to be connecting there onto the shield, so Suna not going to be rewarded with a kill, just has to back off around the corner. Another power drive comes through, but that's the pulse bomb stick, and that is on Khan. Wonderful target to be found there. Tactical Visors traded out. That's Sparky getting the better of his opposition. The London Spitfire should be able to hold on to this one quite comfortably.
There's that patch change as well. The Tac Visor having no fall-off damage. You can just shred people from so far away. And Sparker just set up with Molfig, able to help him stay alive with the defense matrix there. Not available on the other side. But the crucial pick is Shax. Khan at 91% of his Transcendence. Wasn't able to pop it in response to that pulse bomb. Now Paris are coming back in though with double support ultimate. The rally, as long as Naga stays alive, could win them this team fight and flip it over.
Dan falling so low, he's just trying to survive. Grabs the health pack, moving around the corner. There you go, there's the mines at least drop down. London preemptively going to be using that Transcendence to try and at least get a bit of space, but Kellex just wanders, backpedals right into it. Enough damage. As soon as able to collect up this kill, has the follow-up as well. No more recall available. He's going to be chased down here pretty heavily. Needs the heals, but gets the D-Mech instead. Still alive. Should be the team fight win eventually, but London going to be happy with that, getting 99% in the process.
Yeah, not too bad. 99% London can try and come back in. Any kind of pick that Shax or Sparker can generate is going to be enormous. But Paris got a fairly cheap fight out of that one. They only used the mines and then the rally to be able to turn things over, with Dan and Suna combining really nicely together into the backline. And they forced out the trans really early. So Paris have still a lot of ults that they can try and win with. If Suna gets a pulse bomb, maybe defensively on Hadi or aggressively there.
I mean, that's good enough. Don't need a pulse bomb if you're just getting the picks like that.
And that's another cheap fight, Brent.
Yeah, easily done. It's what you need to build up the old banks and, as you were saying, just start rotating and get the ball moving. Maybe you can just start snowballing this defense all the way. For London, though, they're going to be just keep it in mind. One team fight is all they need to win for this round.
Yeah, Kellex should have the advantage in terms of the rally, but Dredro's managed to get basically up to that. You can see Suna looking for a full stop. Good Helix rocket just pokes him a little bit, but he's still going to go.
Yeah, that's a pulse bomb actually. A bit of a whiff there from Suna, and Strax is just trying to contest up the point. We've seen a lot of this team's success really just lies on his shoulders in terms of what he can create on the Tracer. Hasn't been able to get too much done at all. In fact, the power driver from Dan, he trades his life for it, but they do take out Reaper. That's just the spam coming in from afar. Still, Transcendence coming in. Naga again with another kill, evens it up. Shaq's still putting in some decent work, but no one's really pressuring him. And look at this damage he's putting out. Helix Rocket jumps up to the side as well to meet the rest of his team. 80% in counting now, Josh, in that scenario we were talking about. Just winning team fight after team fight, chaining the ultimates. It's now a pretty harsh reality for London. They've got one more opportunity to retake this.
But they also have double support ultimate. Because Paris were so aggressive in London's backline, Kellex was able to do way more work. He's built up a 30% advantage on his rally. So Paris have now gifted their opponents an opportunity back into this. As long as Hadi touches and triggers the OD, And that backline can survive. Sparker needed the trans earlier than that.
And the mines take out Shax as well. I mean, double support odds is all well and good, but if your players are dead, you got nobody to heal. Naga being pressured out heavily, but look at that. He's already got the heals available for him. Losing this many players with the post 1-1 top sooner, just closing this one out for the rest of the team. This is going to be the round going to the Paris Eternal. London was within their grasp yet again, but just unable, just falling short of the mark.
And isn't that just the entire season for the London Spitfire summed up in a nutshell?
Oh, yeah.
So many opportunities to be able to actually get their first win and to knock another opponent off the pedestal, and instead they just come close. And close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, not in the Overwatch League, I'm afraid. And London have been close many times, but they still sat at 0-14. They need to be able to get over that last little hurdle.
Yeah, I don't know much about horseshoes, but I'll trust your judgment on it.
I've never played it before, but apparently you get points for being close. Sounds like a bit of a wonky game, doesn't it?
Oh, it's a game. I thought you were actually talking about the shoes themselves.
What, you mean putting a horseshoe on a horse, but you don't have to get close? What? You think people are putting horseshoes on horses' knees?
I thought maybe it might be like a little bit, it doesn't matter if it's a little bit too short, maybe it doesn't have to be the exact size, I don't know, it doesn't matter.
Poor horses!
That's where my brain went with it, it doesn't matter, the London Spitfire, it's happening, the team fights began. Josh Spark is the one who opens it up though, nice and easy for him, has to back off, falling quite low, that pressure from Suna is good, but the heals are necessary. He's going to receive them, another power drive engage as well, they're going to get these stagger kills off the back end of it. Yeah, I mean, we can touch on the horseshoe argument as well.
I don't want to. I don't want to.
At a later date.
Yep, absolutely. Here's why I want to see Sparker playing the Hangzhou, though. He immediately managed to get a follow-through kill off Hattie's pile drive, and then he's able to do so much more pressure throughout the rest of that fight. Pops his storm arrows, gets another kill. I want to see Sparker pick up the Hangzhou more. Okay, maybe not for that previous map, but any map where they feel like he can get value out of it, they should be going towards that pick.
Now we see the post one in hand for Shax here. He might not choose to use it, might not need it. He's just trying to follow up on a bit of the damage. That's a wonderful stick right around the corner, just zips around. Slaps him on the shoulder, says, see ya. Right back to the respawn queue. That's
Shax's part of the map. That is Shax's area of the map. That's where he got that 6K last year when he was playing Reaper as well. He owns that part of the map. Don't try and take him there.
Another attempt here for the Paris Eternal to try and push back in. So probably going to be the guy to watch for, as he does have a couple of ults, but now look at this aggression coming out from the London Spitfire. They're going to force out those support ultimates. It means they've already got that D-Mech there onto the Stola. It's a difficult team fight to take. Dragon Strike straight down through the choke as well. No one's going to be able to push past this. The team's split up, so it's really just clinical stuff there from the London Spitfire, able to use the ults, chain them up. Cool, calm, and collected.
They have a lot of zoning ultimates as well with this comp. They have the mines, they have the dragon. I mean, you could use self-destruct in that kind of way as well. All stopping Paris from really taking space out this choke point. And you can see how much pressure Tsuna's under whenever he tries to blink forwards and take some pressure away from the rest of his team, make some space. London are just stuffing them.
Yep, power drive into the back there. London playing very aggressively. The mines drop down as well, but they've already lost a lot of their players. I don't think this is really a winnable fight.
They need some objective pressure. Paris need to use Dan and Suna to actually contest the objective, draw people back. I mean, they have to now because it's literally overtime, but that would have been helpful any other time in the round.
Dan comes in from the back, but look at this already. Shax falling quite low, just trying to track them, push them away. Can't from the high ground. Okay, that's a nice little kill. Sparker going down means you now have an opening. You can always lean on the flex support of the Paris Eternal to just somehow find those windows of opportunity. And the damage that Suna's doing right now, the support's just locked up into the corner with nowhere to run. It's an easy post bomb for Suna. Collecting it up. That's the overtime burning, but eventually the flip goes over to the Paris Eternal. Bit of a mirror of what happened in the previous round.
Yeah, great work from Paris to be able to get back in that. Exactly what I was talking about with that objective pressure, pulling London away from the choke point and allowing them opportunities to take high ground control with Naga, with Khan. Just so much damage coming out of those two in particular. Star players for Paris, and they have been all year. Now we get to see whether Paris can do the same thing. That aggressive defense is what I want to see, but they're not going for it. They're going for this Dragon Strike engage instead. But it does offer London a lot of space to work with.
Almost perfect there. Nice little boob off to the side. Potentially catching him. Yeah, Calyx took way too much damage from that. It's going to be going down off the back of this one as Sparker still trying to hit a couple of these arrows, but already too many kills going the way of the Paris Eternal here means that they are going to be the victors.
Yep.
Moving close.
Yep, it looked a little dangerous to me, just in case London were able to burst through the choke point and take the fight to them, but Paris, with great execution, they managed to shut them down. Now London is going to try and probably get value out of Ripper's Trance. I think it would be difficult, but if they can force double support ults out of Paris in this fight, they'll still have another opportunity. These maps are so much about who's in control of the objective.
Ripper taking a ton of damage there, just getting chunked from the side. Shax does have this pulse bomb. It's going to be really important if you can find one of these targets, force out some of these ults! Can't from the side with the volley. That is ridiculous. They've already taken out Shax and they forced out the Transcendence. London committing ultimates into this, and Paris just back off. Patience. The play from them, just able to bide their time, wait it out, and now they can come in with the ultimates. You see the Transcendence being used. With the
Another dragon
and the rally coming through as well. The Dragon Strike ripping through them. Darn goes down to the mines here, but Hattie's going to be traded out. Shax though back in the fight, back in the action, and now they can follow up on this damage. The remake killed over. Stola takes out Molfig. It's a bit of a rarity to see that with the compositions we're playing, but Shax, he knows he has to play the point, but the fight might already be lost. The sole player to try and keep this overtime going. They've got way too many players. It's going to be so difficult for them, but not an impossibility. Shax's still on the battlefield, but he's being marked down now for Stola. He's been so good at this time and time again. He really can't do too much there. Nice little self-destruct to push them off, but Khan, perfect timing with that one, just sends the volleys across, and that is going to be the map there to the Paris Eternal. A heartbreaker. 2 repeated rounds of London getting to 99%, but unable to close it out.
And if you just looked at the scoreboard, it looks like a very clean map 1 from Paris. It wasn't particularly. London absolutely had their chances to win, but they can't get back into these fights. Paris Eternal, great mental fortitude, but we know that Paris have amazing mental fortitude. They've shown us all season long. They're able to get to map 5s when it looks like they're totally out of it, and they get back in both of those rounds when they're out of it too. Excellent start for the Paris Eternal, and already looking shaky on the side of London. France wins again. It's blooming 1066 all over again, isn't it, Brent?
Another dub in the column. I'll be editing the Wikipedia article all night over these ones. We're going to go to a short break on the other side of things. While the series is going to be continuing, we'll see if London can battle back and get into this series once again, and maybe even up that scoreline. See you in a few.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
It's time to crown the MVP of the 2021 season, and you, the fans, get to help decide who takes the title home this year. So head to overwatchleague.com/MVP to see the candidates and learn how you can cast your vote. And yeah, definitely worthwhile doing that as well. We've had a lot of discussion already about who should be making it. I even made the outlandish claim of, you know, Pelican potentially taking it as well, which a lot of you were scoffing at. But I stand by that, personally.
Hey, listen, he is making his case more and more as the season progresses later in the season. If you're looking at Rookie of the Year candidates as well, both of these teams are chock full of rookies. And I think outside shot, somebody like Khan might have been, you know, in the conversation had Paris Eternal had a much better end to the Countdown Cup. They still have that sneaky chance of being able to continue their run. You see Onigod here subbing in for Suna, indicating that they want to start flexing outside of just running the Tracer. Suna is their Tracer specialist. Onigod plays it as well as playing other long-range hit scan, that kind of stuff. So as we head here into Hanamura, I'm expecting the Paris Eternal to go towards Orisa compositions. But yeah, Khan's been a great player in the backline for Paris, who could have had some Rookie of the Year nominations. I mean, potentially could have gone for a run towards the end of the season. Yeah, I think he would have to blow the doors off the Countdown Cup.
I mean, still can. That's all I'm saying, Josh. Still can. That's what this map's playing for. This is what this match is playing for. Yeah. Get into the Countdown Cup play-ins, potentially go to Hawaii. Yeah.
Both of these teams, if they lose, they're out of the Countdown Cup West Region knockouts. London Spitfire have been hearing that all season long, and they've never been able to reverse their fate. Paris have been in a number of those scenarios, actually. They've had a pretty successful season, and they'd love to make it 8 and 8.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Yeah, that would be a nice way to just round out the overall season, especially when expectations were so low for Paris coming in. Most people pitting them really at the bottom of the West Division.
I absolutely
really
thought that they would do. I thought they would do worse than London, for sure. Because when you looked at their contenders results, the core of the London Spitfire roster had been wailing on the Paris Eternal players. The Paris Eternal players have not been put together, and they did a great job. Huge shout out to Avala, Get Amazed, the GM and the coach of the Paris Eternal, who forged this roster and kind of put it together. Because they've taken the scraps of EU contenders and made them into a very good Overwatch League team.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Teleporter comes out onto the point there. It's a classic maneuver. We've seen it all season long. Big Bionade onto Onigod. Not enough damage, though, to try and take him out. In fact, Spark had, as well with the neutral hack, could get it onto Vistola, but no one's able to really do anything at all. Shax goes down to the Stray Icicle. The point's already played up to 2 ticks here. It's going to be really difficult now for the London Spitfire to try and contest this. In fact, they seem a bit disjointed in the matter, a bit undecided in terms of how they want to be engaging onto this one. That's a very fast cap, Josh.
Yeah, this is... There's no chance it goes the way of the London Spitfire, and Paris have 6 minutes in the time
6 minutes.
And they have a great opportunity to just forge a path straight through. London are nowhere near any of their ultimates. Streedro nearly has rally. Dan could hit some crazy shatter if they just go straight down main. They've got a great chance here of snowballing.
Sim TP off to the side there. Shield's being held up. That is the wall. Yeah, Reaper gets caught right against the spawn door there. Shadow almost online for Dan as well, but all he needs to do is really hold up the shield here. Buy a bit of space for the rest of his team. That's going to be the second tick available to them. With that and Mitrix into the backline, Khan is just wreaking havoc across the battlefield here. Another D-Met comes through. The Shatter off to the side. Someone needs to deal with Shax off onto the one end of the spectrum. There's the EMP being sent out across the point, but there's really not going to be any sort of follow-up right now for the London Spitfire. Still, they have ultimates and they're committing them. The Nano Boost, the Rally, the Primal, everything coming into this one to try and turn this fight around, but a Blizzard just locking them all up. Shax still onto the point, causing a bit of damage, but eventually he's going to go down. Up to the side, London doing a pretty reasonable job of just buying as many seconds as they possibly can here. Mulfig so low. Seems like he's been in and out of the mech multiple times now, but it's not going to matter in the end. 4 minutes, 56 seconds on the time bank. The snowball just looking so effective there.
That is a very fast result. I would say that we should check the records and stuff, but the records at this point are just absurd on all of these maps. I don't think that that's going to crack the top times. Could be wrong, could be wrong.
It might be close.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely a speedrun, though. The Paris Eternal came out guns blazing, and I want to give full credit to Naga. He finds a pick onto Shax to start things off with his Icicle.
Yep.
Icicle headshot, Tracer goes down. London essentially have no chance of being able to win that. Then he comes into point B, and taking advantage of Onigod's teleport, puts up a wall that perfectly catches Ripper, as Ripper's trying to back off into spawn. He's just delivered the Paris Eternal those opening kills on a platter with his aim and with his wall usage. That's amazing May play.
It's the kind of stuff as well that doesn't show up in the kill feed. It's really the bread and butter of when you're playing the May. Yeah, the second one at least, of course. And yeah, really did just set them on the right path to get that blitz in time. I mean, that is absurd. Absolutely ridiculous.
I did think we were going to see Dan come out here on Orisa. They were running Orisa Farah comps yesterday against the Defiant, and they looked pretty good with them. They ran them quite a lot on like the attack of King's Row, for example. But here we see Dan on the ball. Going to be able to contest the objective a lot more against the London Spitfire. If Shax had Sparker try and get back there and apply some pressure to pull people away from the choke, Dan can go and contest that without really ruining too much of their setup. And Naga's the real threat here.
Yeah, he certainly is. You can see as well, I love the Tourbillon pick as well. The turret not only just annoys the heck out of the Tracer and the Sombra from trying to get build up a bit of the charge, playing to the back line, but gives you a lot of survivability as well. Nice little attempt here from Naga. And look at those rockets coming straight in. Oh my goodness, Concussion comes off onto the side. These rockets, you need to be so careful of this one. Yeah, the movement needs to be perfect. Reaper's so low, has to be healed, but look at this, the damage has been absolutely monstrous in the backline. The heals can't come through quick enough. Naga, I mean, it's basically having just a field day out here. Look at him just firing away. No one's really being paying attention to this and trying to essentially push him off from a lot of these angles. It's difficult, I know, when it's a constant onslaught of these rockets coming into your direction, but you gotta do a bit of a better job than that.
I mean, the backline is such a weird pick from the London as well. Oh, Khan with the snipe, and the Bione just takes him down. Here's that objective pressure. But yeah, just to return to my point there, the backline for the London Spitfire, with the Ana and the BAP, you almost never see those two working together. They have very little innate synergy between the two picks. That could have been a bit worrying if Pistola was hacked there, but that's not the case, and he continues to harass the little flankers from London. But they've picked the BAP and Ana in order to apply pressure to Naga, but instead they're just kind of targets for Naga, if anything.
Yeah. They're trading places in terms of when they want to try and essentially heal each other. The nano boost onto Naga, right into the back, that's the barrage. Just waited for the Immortality Field to get used as well, preemptively there. It's an easy little two-piece. They're going to give up space onto the point in order to create that play, but with the support line gone, London can't really get too much more done with it. In fact, Morphin gets demeched as well, straight off the map. It's going to be buying them a bit more time. A bit of a bright spot, I suppose, for London is that they do have players in position behind them, that it's going to be a bit of a nuisance for Paris. They can try and set up some engage, maybe, but it's going to be hard. The support line is kind of locked at the choke point right now.
London look utterly lost. Sparker is also building one of the slowest EMPs that I've seen, 75%, and we're 2.5 minutes in. So he's just trying to get that one built up. London will eventually have an ult bank to try and use, but I can't see them getting too much success, because how does their backline ever come in? And their backline can't really help Shax or Sparker.
Mine's at the choke point. That's just to try and push them off. You can see the Molten Core came out here from Monigod. Nice little sleep dart. It's going to catch him a bit unaware. But
the window?
Not too much done. Yeah. No. I mean, it's just going to pop the overload, and he's healthy.
Well, they have a nano they could try and use on Shax to clean up after an EMP, I guess, but I don't think London know what they're doing right now.
He doesn't have recoil, doesn't have blinks, he can't get into the fight, and I mean, Paris just jump on the opportunity. They realize, okay, well, your backline's not going to be really able to get peeled for at all by Shax. The DPS can't follow up into this team fight. In fact, they don't even deny the res, so Khan's back into the action again. Another D-mech. It's going to be the self-destruct at least. Off into the side, Moffat just can't get back into the mech in time.
This is very sad. This is one of the worst performances London has had all year, honestly. There's no semblance of a plan between their front line and their back line. There's no real idea of what they want to do with the Nano or the EMP. Spark is back here with 8 seconds. Their backline's going to get bullied again. And they just
the EMP
lost.
needs to be huge, but they don't have anything to follow it up, and they're lost. Really is word of the day. Not sure how many Scrabble points it is, but there's the EMP though. It does catch onto Naga. That's quite good, but the heals are even better. The Parasiternal keeping him up still. Shaq's in the fight now. Down falls. Could be an opening for them. That barrage comes through, but Morphy just not able to really eat up a tremendous amount of it. In fact, it's going to be taken out of the mech, demeched, damage off onto the side. Has to get out of there. Nice little fadeaway rocket. That's going to be then pushed away. Bit of a tragic, lackluster end there to the map for the London Spitfire. There's no other way to really phrase that.
All smiles
you can
from
see
Naga.
all smiles. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great map. He was uncontested, had no threats that he had to deal with, never had to peel for his backline at all, or worry about people behind him. He just got to go aggressive with nanos, with Mercy damage boost, and feast on an Ana backline that couldn't do anything to stop him because of the angles they were working with. London might have workshopped that comp for a while and thought that it would counter the Farah. It certainly didn't. That's a very disappointing half for the London Spitfire. It's a speed run right now for Paris.
Yeah, a bit of a lack of proactivity there from the London side, but we're going to go to a short break. An opportunity, honestly, with the half that maybe the London Spitfire can get their act together and put up a competitive performance right now against the Paris Eternal. It looks unlikely, but you never know what might happen. Still, Paris Eternal looking on fire, uncontested largely. We'll find out soon enough. The Countdown Cup tournament is almost here. Will you have the correct pick for this tournament's winner? Go to pick'em.overwatchleague.com to submit your picks for this week's matches. Still a bit of time left to get your picks in, as well as the overall planes as well. You know you're going to be wanting to get those points on the board as well for your chance to win that $500 and the Hangzhou statue. This match, yeah, I mean, it's looking like it's well on its way for a bit of a speed run. You're probably quite pleased at the moment if you've got the 3-0 dotted down for the Paris Eternal. Obviously, the series not over just yet, but it was an uninspiring last map from the London Spitfire.
It was a terrible last map from the London Spitfire, but we saw with the Paris-Toronto game, Toronto go up 2-0, and Paris take it all the way back to 5. I don't think Paris's mental is... Paris are not the kind of team normally to go up early in a series and then let it slip away from them, though it's been heard of, for sure. It's been heard of. I don't think we're in for that today. You know, we were talking earlier on about some of the historic rivalries, if you want to call it like that, or wars, essentially, between France and Britain. I don't know whether that counts as a rivalry, honestly. It's not like a friendly sports rivalry.
Well, it's turned into a rivalry.
Sure,
but,
yeah.
And previously, it was incredibly bitter and brutal.
Yeah, I mean, I was mentioning 1066, not technically, the French, actually. That was the Vikings who settled in Normandy that ended up taking over England and causing future debacles in the 12th century onwards because of all the ways it mingled the monarchies together. But this match is the opposite of the 100 Years' War. It is so quick. It is the 100-second war. This is set to be potentially one of our top 5 fastest matches this year if they can wrap up Numbani in 8 minutes. So that's what I've got my eyes on, Bren. Is that possible?
Yeah. Possibly. I mean, it's Numbani. It could happen. It's the Paris turn on the attacking side, so we could see it. Potentially
They'd have to
a record.
speed run this attack side if they want to get top 5 this year.
It would have to be non-stop. Could happen. You never know. The London Spitfire looked a little bit lost. A bit uncertain in terms of the way they wanted to run the composition that they're running. Now they're on the defense side of things.
And they're still running Sparker on Sombra. I really thought that they would try and lean much more heavily into him running the Hangzhou, honestly. I was going to say long-range hit scan, but it isn't just any old long-range hit scan. It's that Hangzhou Tracer that we've seen be so successful from a number of teams, both in the West and the East. And yet the London Spitfire really seem like they want to go for both of their DPS being these flankers that can get in and do something against Paris Eternal's backline. And Paris are going to come out here with an Arisicom, kind of bunkery. They were playing a lot of this against Toronto.
They certainly were. High ground's going to be taken here from the Paris Eternal. A lot of pressure available to them with the flashbang as well. Yeah, right around the side here. You can see them trying to set something up, but that's Hadi getting red. Gets the power drive off onto the side, but that's a quick little headshot still. Oh my god. Going to be taken down pretty quickly there. Paris Eternal, the longer they drag this one out, the better it could become for them, and they have really just baited in a lot of aggression. Have to still be careful though. They don't want to overstep themselves, but a picture-perfect wall. Naga's been excellent with these all series long. Just wonderful placement. And this is going to be a bit of a capture here. They're going to be able to contest this one up. The freeze locking up Hardy is never ideal for the London Spitfire. Can he get out of there? He can just about. And they're still contesting up the point.
Yeah, they've been walled off, though, again. So another one of Naga's walls, which is getting large value for them. They're going to be able to get 2 ticks for free, setting Ripper back up on the high ground. Someone's got a touch here, though. Tanks
yeah, they do eventually.
And DPS coming back in.
Coming straight through. Morpher get a bit of the off angle here, just pumping in those micro rockets. That's going to be the Transcendence Force, though. Good presence of mind from Vestola to find that one, but again, another icicle. Straight to the cranium. That Shaxx removed from the fight. One of the carry potentials, one of really sole win conditions, it feels like at times, to the London Spitfire, just taken out and removed. a couple of whiffs there. He's laughing at it.
Exactly, he's laughing at it. There's no pressure on Paris right now. That's what I wanted to point out. The psychological element there is that if you're whiffing and it's doing, you know, if it's hurting your team, you feel frustrated about it. Naga is all smiles. He knows that he's having a fantastic individual performance and he's helping his team just blitz through this match. I like the sneaky setup from London. You know, they hid Kellex, they tried to go for a pile drive, and Kellex going in to do some damage with Molfik, but Sparker was nowhere to be seen, and Hani and Shaxx just couldn't get out. So even though they started well, it just all fell to pieces.
Shout out to Dredro as well. With the shield bash onto Hattie to remove that setup. Seeing something similar happening here. They have so much crowd control to really lock up Hattie when he goes for these engagements. Still, Onigod falls. Shaq's getting the better of him there with the Discord Orb applied. Self-destruct over the top. That's going to be forcing them indoors, but London are going to be avoiding the worst of that. And they have managed to buy a bit of time here. Still looking for a pick, though. Paris' comp is very good at taking out these sustained, drawn-out fights and engagements, but eventually they do burst through. That's a great attempt there. The EMP really finding a bit of value, at least as they get that kill onto Dar.
Pretty large value, yeah. I think the EMP shut down the supercharger there as well. Naga's still going to invest the Blizzard. Paris believe that they can win this. And Onigod finds the pick on the break. That could absolutely do it.
It could do it, but still, Strax is in the fight. Ready and waiting to follow up on all this damage that's being done, and he is doing a tremendous job at that. Still, ultimates being committed. Dredro putting the rally in. That's a self-destruct indoors, right up close and personal. Onigod could not go anywhere. Bastola getting demeked on the tail end of it as well. And now they can really just start to apply some pressure. I think this is Paris getting ahead of themselves ever so slightly. Throwing in ultimates into fights, which, yeah, not winnable scenarios.
Yeah, I mean, it started with the self-destruct. It was self-destruct, and then there was a rally, and then there was the supercharger, and then there's just a ton of fights being invested, or a ton of ults, sorry, being invested in a fight where they were down. Just that confidence level from the prior two maps, thinking, or perhaps deceiving Paris into thinking that they could win. Now they've fed Spark of the EMP, so this map is not looking particularly great for Paris Eternal. They've thrown away the old economy, firmly in favor of London right now.
Window off to the side. Fortify's going to fade away here. Onigod going to challenge up that Deadeye now. Off to the side, but no one's really going to be playing out in the open.
It's always 12 p.m. somewhere.
You gotta work on that.
Yeah. 12 p.m. Oh my goodness, he's on a tear. Off to the side, Sparker, when he was falling down off the side of the map, taken out pretty quickly, and he really just looks unfazed by what's just happened. Clicking heads like it's normal.
Yeah, that is a fantastic performance from Onigod. He's looked really good for the Paris Eternal towards the latter half of this season, even though the team hasn't been doing as well. I mean, actually, the second half of the season has been pretty decent for them overall, but Onigod really has been doing well. They ran a lot of this kind of setup, this same composition. Like I was saying, it had its moments where it was successful, but the Toronto Defiant found ways of breaking it apart. Sparker now making the move onto the Hangzhou. That's what I want to see. I think that this is going to apply a lot of pressure onto Dan's shield, give him opportunities to go toe-to-toe with long-range options from Onigod and Naga.
That's a good engagement as well. Moncourt, a lot of it getting ate up, but they've got the damage. Shaq's playing around. It's so difficult as well to try and play against some of these targets. You can see how tanky they are. Naga was surviving for so long there when he had two players marking him, but that is going to be a teamfight win. London can be happy with that one now. With this 2-minute 30 time bank, that can get trickled down pretty quickly if the York Paris Eternal. Still a lot of ultimates for them to work with, though.
Yeah, huge amount of ults. The Paris Eternal have got massive value here. Dan very weak, though, going to be able to be healed up. They're going up top here. This indicates to me that they're going to want to look for value out of Khan's Amp Matrix. Maybe combo it with the Deadeye coming out from Onigod, see if they can get a free pick. That is a dominant combo.
Yeah, really nice from the London Spitfire. Shoving the ultimates in. The Dragon Strike pushes the positioning back. Obviously, the Pulse Bomb forced out the Immortality field. They had nothing to really just mitigate all of that being used. Good heads-up play there from London. You want to see that proactivity from them.
That's a great setup. Like you said, the Immortality field was out, and Sparker's ult did so much damage. They know that Paris want to come up top at this point, and Spitfire is starting to build up to some of their own ults. The mines are going to be devastating in this small, enclosed area. And Kelleck's close to a rally, too, to be able to match Dredro. Dan can't really approach. He doesn't want to deploy his shield because they're trying to go forwards. The shield is not valuable there. So he's just trying to get value out of Defense Matrix.
This is a bit of a bizarre play, but I guess with the Amp Matrix pushed down, it does force them back. And now Paris can breathe a little bit. They have a bit of space. The high ground, though, is being retaken. You can see London, look at them, just skirting up, right up top into the attic. There's the power drive, comes down. It's going to be the stun onto Hardy, so Hardy just has to try and roll away to safety, falling very, very low there. Rallies also exchanged out. Now the Molten Core. Perhaps looking to lay it down, at least give them a bit of an advantage into this fight with the Dragon Strike cut across, though. Could be anyone's game. Supercharger drops, but Shaxi commits the pulse bomb to remove it. Bit of a smart play, honestly, when you think about the long term of the team fight. Take away the extra damage that they might have. But the Powers Eternal are finding themselves just weathering this one out. The Fortify onto Dan means that it's a bit of a tough target to chew through. Can't really take him out, but still even.
Yeah, it's crazy that Paris has been able to get all this space. They bought time for Khan to come back, and Khan heals up Dan, manages to get up close to another Ant Matrix maybe by the end of this fight. Dan is tanking, oh, but he's been caught.
Oh, he did a cartwheel, that's absurd. Dan just sent straight off to the side. The Olympics is over, I don't know if you're going to be getting any points for it, but that's a wonderful little play there from the London Spitfire. Dragon Strike online as well, but they're not even going to need it. Just stopping them short. It was impressive from the Powers Eternal, the fact that they were able to just essentially brute force their way through that team fight when it was traded back and forth in terms of the picks they were getting. But even still, kudos to London there, at least stopping them short of getting that full map completion. It's a goalpost for them to aim for.
It totally is. And I think we can quite firmly say at this point, it's not going to be a top 5 record in terms of speed runs for Paris. So no medal there. No medal for the cartwheel either, which I did enjoy a lot. Never seen a cow cartwheel before. I've never seen it. But it's a...
Isn't Orisa more like a centaur? It's like a humanoid upper body, right? Yeah, but it's like you got the arms.
She's got bug eyes. She's got bug eyes and horns.
Yeah,
I mean, she's her own thing, all right? She doesn't need to be compared to any sentient... Well, I suppose she
doesn't need to be defined.
Yeah, she's not not close to any other organic life form. She's her own thing. Where was I going with that?
I've completely thrown you off your train of thought. I've completely thrown you for a loop.
Here's where I was. Even though that was really sloppy from Paris, after point A, they're just throwing ults at the board, getting punished as they try and rotate through the high ground. It still is a not too bad push when you consider Numbani as a whole. And so London could absolutely get held here at point A, snarled up in the streets phase, any of that stuff. It's still winnable here for Paris Eternal, as long as they don't keep their eyes off the prize.
It's still winnable. Sparker on the Sombra, just trying to get in. You can see that spam just for the choke by him. Vistola's just spamming away, takes him out of the stealth.
The Bapana.
Yes, they are. Exact same comp that we saw on Hanamura when they were trying to attack through.
I can appreciate the resilience, the stubborn mentality. It will work.
Eventually. Maybe try it 100 times.
We just got unlucky on Hanamura.
Yeah. Ooh, off to the side. Now, does he have any support here? They are putting a decent amount of damage into him, but... Oh, no. See ya.
That's sad. And the problem as well is that not only do the Ana and the Bap not really have any synergies together, oh wow, the snipe as well from Khan, lands a Bionade on Ripper, nearly takes him out. But they don't really help Shax and Sparker do anything either. There's no Discord Orb to make their targets squishier. There's no armor packs that you can send out to Shax to make him more resilient as he fights. Shax and Sparker and Hadi are just kind of on their own, pretty disconnected. It looks like Sparker really wants to get a hack at a punish. Oh my word, not again.
Almost getting that one. There's the hack. Naga very low. Oh my goodness, had to shoot himself in the feet just to get a bit of forward momentum, but that's going to be the Fire Mercy taken out. No res for it. The punish is there. Now London have got the opening that they were looking for. They get this kill as well. That's a lot of damage off onto Dan, and yeah, chased down. Getting a hack onto him, he had no mobility. Still traded out there. Somehow Hardy dies as he was trying to make something happen. And they do have a bit of sustain here. The hack onto Vistola just to try and keep them from at least playing the point up. Now the EMP connects. That's Naga again going to be locked down to the ground. The rocket connects onto Spark. Are you kidding me? And Shax falls as well. Off to the side. That concussion blast almost taking him out. And the rockets, the barrage, it's all committed. Still, the appropriate response is there as London are going to be locking him down with that defense matrix. Morphig was tracking it expertly. An opportunity, a window for them to now come back into this one. No way, no way.
He's fighting the turret! There's no chance! What am I witnessing? He was about to get demeched by the turret and decided to fight it with his bunny blaster! This is all falling to pieces for the Spitfire!
No.
And I must say, this is unfair, because Naga has brought a rocket launcher to the Battle of Agincourt, and that was not in the rulebook. The London Spitfire did not expect this to be the case. Naga hacked again, though. They're trying to take him out. So many resources expended.
Now, this time Pistola, though, doing a very good job of just protecting him up, eating up the damage that was going towards him. It's going to be the D-Mech, and I think after that, I mean, listen, I won't tell anyone if you won't, Molf. I mean, we don't have to talk about it.
Yeah, we won't mention it. It won't get
we
put
won't
in any
mention
highlight
it.
Clips.
No,
I promise. I promise. 50 seconds left. They have a window to work with. The Ant Matrix. I don't think they're going to find much value out of that. They're 50% towards an EMP, which would normally be decent if you could farm down or Vistola, but that's not what Spark has been doing. He spent half his time just invisible, looking for hacks on a backline target.
And look at where Naga is. Somehow the positioning's been flipped around, but he's just playing by himself. Yeah, he's just gone for the direct rockets from the low ground angle. Very difficult maneuver, but somehow confident enough that it will work out. With Reaper down in the D-Mech, 10 seconds remaining, Josh. It is probably going to be quite a bit of a pitfall end here.
Yep, much like penalties against Italy, it is not coming home today. The London Spitfire, it seems, have an inexorable march towards the Bread Bowl at 0-15. But the Paris Eternal do manage to find another win, which finishes out their regular season at 8-8. No one expected Paris to be a 500 team at the end of this year. Absolutely nobody.
Yeah, no one.
This is an amazing season from Paris, and it isn't over yet. They've managed to win. They're in for the postseason play-ins. The Countdown Cup is on the table as well. They have opportunities galore, and this squad, it may not have been the end of the season that they were looking for. People were hyping up the 4-0 Countdown Cup for Paris. That didn't happen, but at the very least, they're looking competent and far exceeding those preseason expectations.
Yeah, they certainly are. I think they can honestly look back at this season, if it was to end at this point, which there's still opportunities abound, as we said, you know, the postseason play-ins are theirs. But if it were to end here, I think they could be quite pleased with what they've accomplished. 8-8 for a roster that people really had very low hopes for across the board when it comes to some of the most respected minds within the community. Another win to drop on for them, and let's take a look at now at the player of the match for the Paris Eternal. There's one individual who has just been popping off all game long. It's Naga for the performances this guy was putting up as well. I mean, the May was really the shining light, I think, for me over the course of this season as well. Such an intelligent playstyle, I think, that Naga was encompassing there on that role. But obviously, he does it all. He does it on a variety of different roles, particularly as Farah, which is probably the most flashy of them.
It totally is. And the London Spitfire, I think, tried to counter it. They had some idea that running an Anabat backline would apply pressure to him, and Naga just snapped on them. In map after map, he was able to find these kills, take a nano, go in, and just devastation. Absolute devastation. He's an incredibly fun player to watch. Like I said, he's got an outside chance of being nominated for like a Rookie of the Year position with Khan on this team. They've been the two players that have impressed me the most on Eternal's run in the regular season. And especially now in this meta when Naga has the Farah that he can lean on, that is the identity of the Paris Eternal, I think. And that's what they're going to be relying on in the Countdown Cup if they manage to make a kind of run there.
Yeah, it's been impressive from them. I remember saying at the beginning of the year as well for the Paris Eternal, one player, if I think, out of all of them, who I was going to be looking towards to really carry this team if they were going to be seeing some success, it was Naga, was the name I mentioned. I think there was, as well, a lot of hype onto Khan, which is for good reason. The guy is an absolute nutcase, but Naga was kind of, you know, floating below where a lot of people were expecting in terms of individual performances, but he's proven it, especially as we look at this, going 8-8 at the course of the season and having a dominant performance on the Farah. Really well played to them and to Naga as well as an individual, but not over just yet. Obviously, still got the postseason play-ins to look forward to.
Yep, and Naga played 6 heroes in this match today as well. So it's not like he's just a Farah one trick or anything. He's got a range of stuff that he can play and a range of different compositional ideas that the Paris Eternal have. And like I said, this hasn't been the Countdown Cup that they were hoping for, at least the regular season portion of it, but it doesn't, maybe it doesn't end here. So, yeah, Paris is definitely still a team to keep your eyes open for.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to go to a short break, obviously. Have an interview with Onigod as well. You can see at the bottom of your screens. We're going to be going to that one as well as the rest of the Overwatch League games are going to be happening for the rest of the day. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. You know you're not going to want to miss it. You want to grab all those juicy tokens as well and whatnot. We've got the vault unlocked. So you've got that to look forward to as well. Josh, by the way, you need to get the Zen skin. That's a reminder for you.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Hi everybody, welcome to Game Break. We're joined now by Onigod from Paris Eternal. Onigod, congratulations on the win. How are you feeling?
Pretty good. It was a pretty quick match, so we feel good.
It was pretty quick. it was a pretty Yeah, it was a quick match, and of course, it's a big win for you guys. And talking about the win, this was actually your final match of the regular season. Is there like a big takeaway lesson that you got playing all the matches for the season?
I think our biggest takeaway lesson is like just how important synergy is in a team and just trusting each other. Also being like ready to adapt whenever is super important.
Right, and I'm sure all of those things will come into effect very, very soon, because although you guys, the regular season might be over for you guys, there are still play-ins left to be played for the Paris Eternal. How are you guys going to prepare for the play-ins, and is there a team that you really, really want to beat in the play-ins?
I mean, I'm not really sure who we play or like what team. We don't really have a real rivalry now. Like we had London because they're the other EU team, but maybe Atlanta, since we got some friends on that team, so it would be fun.
Okay. And is there like a specific thing you guys are doing to prep for the play-ins as well, or are you guys just going to, just chill for a bit and then start just scrimming? What's your plan?
We're probably gonna keep doing mostly what we've done so far. Might have to prepare a few extra cheesy strats.
Okay, all right, awesome. I mean, I'm hearing that you guys have about 2 weeks, so hopefully you guys get some break, and good luck with practicing for the play-ins, and I'll see you guys very, very soon in the play-ins, all right? Oniga, thank you so much for the interview.
Yep, thank you. See you.
Thank you. All right, let's head back to the desk.
Finished?
Thank you so much, Oniga. Thank you so much, Danny, for getting the inside scoop. And yeah, business as usual. I agree with Oniga too. Not much of a rivalry if it's a 3-0, is it? So yeah, they were staking their claim. They are the superior EU team, turns out, Costa. But don't worry, I'm not going to rub it in. No, I don't even have you talking about that game. I'm going to hand that one over to Reinforce, who kind of dodged a bullet here. I'm not going to lie, right? We did allow the last second, literally last second flip-flop, but I do want to know, did Paris Eternal redeem themselves in your eyes with the performance in that League 3 today?
Yeah, I mean, to some extent they did, because they actually improved on their loss the other day. I think last time around we looked at the Paris Eternal, we didn't like the teamwork they had, took a rough loss to the Toronto Defiant. This time around, they looked way more confident. Obviously, they flexed around to different kinds of compositions, whether it was Orisa, Reinhardt, Wrecking Ball once more, but the individual players were popping off. Onigod had a way better game individually, and also I think the London Spitfire, they're not as good as the Toronto Defiant, so that's obviously just going to help Paris Eternal shine in this example. London Spitfire though, they put in Sparker, playing this Hangzhou composition. This is what we saw, for example, the Florida Mayhem do yesterday against the Houston Outlaws as well. So the London Spitfire, they had a great idea about the meta going into the Countdown Cup, but it just doesn't seem like the okay, I can't explain this. I cannot explain this. This is I mean, I don't know. Never mind, I'm not gonna go there. London Spitfire, some points it looked good with their compositions, some points it looked bad. But Paris Eternal was the team that looked the best this time around, and that's why they won 3-0. For real though, the Paris Eternal, obviously as you mentioned, they qualified for the play-ins now. This is a team that could be very exciting to see in the play-ins, because usually we have a bit of a meta shift as we head towards the playoffs and the play-ins. The Paris Eternal, based on what we've seen from them the last few weeks, they can play pretty much everything, and they'll be a very competitive team. You can take a look at the bracket yourself. Only Boston Uprising are yet to secure their play-in spot, with Florida Mayhem with an outsider chance of making it in there. But Paris Eternal, Toronto Defiant, they've secured their spots into the play-in. So congratulations to the Paris Eternal, a team we didn't really expect to go 8-8 as we went into this season.
No, I think this can't be stated enough, actually, because if we were looking at those two EU teams, it was the London Spitfire, which came in, with those highly praised players from EU contenders, and it looked like, Paris Eternal just got the the second best players for me, you know, like kind of the leftovers. It just kind of seemed like that mix up afterwards.
Yeah.
So I think
No,
a
you're
lot
right.
of people would have expected London Spitfire to actually be the better team from that region at least, but it ended up being Paris Eternal, where it just all came together, which is just fantastic. So a well-deserved clinch spot. They went 8-8 in the season. Now, if we're looking at the Countdown Cup, they are, of course, still having more points they can collect, right, if they manage to actually make it into the Countdown Cup. How do you see them faring against the other teams which are up there?
I'm a little worried for Paris. Obviously, I think not looking at today's match, looking at yesterday's match against the Toronto Defiant, as much as the Toronto Defiant has been playing well, they're going to have to go up against one of the better teams that we have in the West, the Atlanta Reigns, the Los Angeles Gladiators. I expect to make it their way up there as well, the Houston Outlaws. I don't see Paris getting over there, at least with how they're playing right now. But, you know, they've shocked us before. They've had great performances. They've got great wins. So a long shot, maybe the underdogs heading into the Countdown Cup.
Yeah, we love a good underdog story, though. So yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Everything is possible. We've seen a lot of upsets this season. So why not throw another one in there, shall we? Now we do have a next match coming up, and that one is going to be played out between the San Francisco Shock and the Vancouver Titans. And Costa, I want to get your thoughts here and pick your brain. What do you want to see from those two teams heading into this match?
Honestly, just good looks, because there's a lot on the line for both teams, but they're very different things. So for the San Francisco Shock, we haven't seen them for a couple of weekends, but they looked pretty good last time they played. They went to 5 with Dallas Fuel, but unfortunately did lose. But the question becomes for them, are they going to be able to three-peat? Right now, the answer is probably not. Let's be real, but we want to see good performance because they are on that cusp of getting into the playoffs and not having to go through the play-ins, and they've obviously had a struggled season compared to what we know them for. On the other side, the Vancouver Titans, a team that got their first win last weekend. Breadsticks, everyone was really high, everything was going great. We thought that maybe they're going to be able to do it, they'll be able to beat London quite handily, but they went on to a pretty bad loss against the Washington Justice, I believe it was, and they just didn't look as cohesive. So was it a one-off? Are they going to be able to replicate that performance that got them the last win? Because they can't beat the Shock. The Bread Bowl is tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow. The Bread Bowl's tomorrow. That's
So
what
excited.
really matters.
It is.
Stay tuned.
London.
12 p.m. PST. Don't
Yes.
miss
You
it.
need to be
Don't
there
wanna
for
miss
that
it,
because,
yeah.
and this is the precursor to that match. London just heavily struggled. How are Vancouver going to do? How is this match for tomorrow going to fare?
All right, so yeah, let's see their warm-up round against the San Francisco Shock happening in just a little bit. And for all of that, we're going to hand it over to ZP and Doa, who are joining us for this phenomenal match.
Hello.
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 Yeah,
How are you
it's
guys
been
doing?
long.
It's
No, what
rare.
are you doing?
It's all right.
rare that you guys are up at this hour, is it? Like,
Yeah.
That's right.
I don't
It's,
think we
it's
talked all
strange.
season in different
sun
time
is out.
zones now. Yeah.
The sun is out, and that's very weird. You've called upon the two cast men of the 3-0 Apocalypse. Remember that last time ZP and I were here to cast San Francisco versus Vancouver, and it was the fastest match that had ever been seen in the Overwatch League. So, you know, naturally, they had to bring us back, right? Yeah.
Well, also, it was a bit of a monkey's paw because I know in my contract many years ago, I went to the bigwigs up top. I said, I will only cast rematches of Shock Vancouver, thinking that I'd be getting the greatest matches of all time. And now we've gotten
Here
to
we
the current era where Vancouver is very different. So,
ZP, my eardrums have just exploded.
I was about to say, like, that was really loud.
That was so loud.
That's right. I will never hear again, but at least the last thing I ever heard was the dulcet tones of Z Pyramid. It's great. So the dodecahedron is here as well.
I don't know what happened.
Perfect.
I don't know what happened either. It's a mystery. It's just more hype, right, Desk? It's just more hype
True,
coming to this
true.
one,
Oh,
isn't
yeah.
it? Yeah.
Loud is
Yeah,
funny,
I'm
though.
awake
Never
now.
forget
I'm
that.
awake for this one. So thank you
That's
so
right.
much, CP.
All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, Desk. We always appreciate it when you do exactly that. Well, ZP, here we go. Here we are again, back in North America. Well, virtually anyway, I suppose, for the same matchup like I mentioned earlier we did before. It's the San Francisco Shock versus the Vancouver Titans. And the thing is that San Francisco actually has a good amount to play here for, because they play Toronto tomorrow, I believe, or later in this weekend anyway. And so getting a 3-0 here today is pretty important because they still have that chance to take that third spot in the West region overall and avoid the play-ins. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it is. And I think the Shock are in this weird situation where because their tournament performance this year hasn't been very good, people just go, oh, the Shock, they're not a good team anymore. But then you actually look at the overall league standing and it's like, wait, the Shock have a lot to play for. They're one of the very top teams in the league by record. And you think about it, there's plenty of cases throughout sports in general where, yeah, a team might not look the best in the regular season, but you finish with a decent enough record, you go into the postseason, and you surprise people and remind them that, hey, we're actually a really good team.
Yeah, exactly. And, that's the thing, right? Because this roster is so talented. I mean, just look at these fine young gentlemen and their Overwatch skill. They have been great to watch all season long. Obviously, they have a pedigree to live up to with the San Francisco Shock name in the Overwatch League. And so while you would think that a 3-0 against the Vancouver Titans would be a foregone conclusion, you gotta take it seriously, right? So I think we're gonna see this team step up. I don't think we're gonna see any messing around today. I think we're gonna see serious Shock.
Yeah, I think this is a Shock that's going to be out for blood. And just like I'm out for eardrums right now, where, when we're off camera, I'll see if I can fix whatever's going on there. As it's not just you, Doa. It's not just the audience. It's also production. Where, what I think happened? I think my headset got caught on one of the dials right as I was standing up. So I was I sure hope it didn't change anything. And apparently it did.
It may have. It may have just changed something. Who knows? But we'll figure it out. Don't worry. But I'm excited because we've got this matchup right, and we've got the Vancouver Titans. They got their first win. They are no longer winless. Only 2 teams remain with that illustrious designation. But they could still play spoiler to the San Francisco Shock. And although your playoff hopes might be over, if you're the Vancouver Titans, at least you can go down swinging. And I think that's what I'd love to see from this team today.
Yeah, I think Vancouver, they've had an interesting stage so far where they've looked better than expected. I think that this matchup is probably a little bit unfair to expect them to come out and, have a huge performance. But hey, I mean, it's also a situation where all the pressure is on the Shock, no pressure is on Vancouver. And, that's a sort of situation where a team that's seen as an underdog can have a little bit of an advantage. So we'll see if Vancouver has the most of it and, most importantly, has a little bit of fun.
Yeah, we'll find out. I mean, it is going to be a fun match either way. I wonder if San Francisco is like, all right, well, we already got the world first speed record against Vancouver Titans or any team really in the Overwatch League. I wonder if we can beat that record today. That thought has got to be going through their heads a little bit. But I think Vancouver has legitimately improved a little bit over the course of the season. I don't think we're going to see things be quite as easy as they were back in the June joust, but you never know. Like I said, ZP and you and I have a habit of casting some of the quicker beatdowns of the Overwatch League this season. A lot of those involving the LA Valiant, but we like to come over to NA for these matches too, I guess. But let's go to Oasis, our control map, and see what happens as hopefully you can get your sound thing fixed, because I will literally be deaf by the end of this map if that doesn't happen.
Well, you see, right now I'm actively adjusting it. I'm
that's
trying
already
to sound
better.
normal, but I'm
That's
already
already way
looking at it, and it's I'm just about at the right level. Yep, there we go.
More,
I
bit
think
more,
we're
I'd say. All right,
a bit
all right.
more. It's still a little bit loud. No, I think we're good.
A little bit. We're good. Okay, well, there we go. Esports in action, ladies and gentlemen. This is the beauty of remote casting. It's time to start our series here. San Francisco Shock versus the Vancouver Titans, of course, starting things off on City Center here in Oasis. And we will see. We will see what sort of fight Vancouver has brought for the Shock here. Now, the Shock don't have a win rate above 50% on any of the first 4 maps in the series. Yeah, sure. But they're still doing pretty well in the season overall. It's still the Vancouver Titans. I think an upset would be one of the biggest we've ever seen in Overwatch if it does happen.
Yeah, I think this is one of those things where you look at it and you go, wait, maybe all the rumors and tales about the Shock not being as good this season are true, because I don't know. They still have a really good record, but then it's like you lost to a team that's been struggling all season long, only had 1 win. So, Shock, we'll see if they can live up to the dominance here in Vancouver. Let's see if they have something to do here. Right now, look at the Shock. Shock for now. Yeah. Not doing anything too crazy. Just kind of walking at Vancouver, where Vancouver more under pressure to make something happen with the dive.
I mean, hey, when you play a composition like the Shock are, you can just kind of walk towards the team slowly, stay as that cohesive unit, stay behind the shields, give your DPS a chance to shoot a bit, and there it is, a kill already on a Dalton, so it's a good start for Shock.
Yeah, Han just immediately flicks, grabs him immediately, and Yeah, 2 down already, and the Shock don't even have to do anything crazy here, though. When you get 2 early pickoffs, it's just you secure what you have, you make sure no one gets picked off in the process, and just really smart play from the Shock, built off that early pick.
Yep, absolutely. And so Vancouver already on the back foot going forward here. And it's going to be tough if you're playing things like the Sombra Tracer sometimes to get back in onto this, right? Obviously, Sombra can flank and find hacks here and there. A hack on the Reinhardt is pretty huge. But you've got so much to stop those damaged players in their tracks in terms of the flashbang, things like that. So I think if Shock just keeps rotating here as a unit, they should be pretty good.
Yeah, Shock kind of dropped the window a little bit early there. I mean, it does force Vancouver to take a wider path, but all in all, still 31% here on City Center. And, you know, Vancouver, to a degree, they are kind of waiting for EMP here. Transcends up, and Narrow takes out Dalton early. And wait, what? No. Vancouver's investing here down 1. This is highly questionable. No one on Shock was even low. I don't know what opportunity Wolf saw there, but it does not pan out, Doa.
Yeah, Fried Wiener down as well. Fire does get the kill on the Nero, but it's looking pretty rough for the Titans overall. And, you know, that is, you know, you get those situations, right, where the team call is to go in, you lose someone immediately at the start, you try to make something out of it. Maybe they still can. With kills coming out for Vancouver now, looks like they might be able to flip it after all.
That was weird. Long after the Transcendence was over, when Shock had a huge advantage, Anj just goes a little bit far out, gets picked by Chongsik, and the fight turns. And, you know, it doesn't have a lot to do with the Transcendence, but the Shock give away that one almost for free in Vancouver. Now at the shot.
Yeah. And, hey, you got the percentage going. Can't really ask for too much more, right? They've got the rally to sort of sustain themselves. They will have the self-destruct fairly soon, too. But you know what? Shock has a lot of tools as well coming into this one. It's going to be a little bit tricky, and we are very close, if not in one-fight territory, for Shock to close out this round.
Shock, they don't have to do too much here. I mean, now that they've played the rally, they do have to be a little bit more aggressive and looking for targets. But Vancouver, they see the rally, they count the rally of their own. So Vancouver's going to wait a moment, head on in, a little bit of rally advantage. Smurf, though, dropping the shatter. Puts the ball to the ground, he's going to get it, the bomb to the back, and that's 2 easy picks. Hans, though, falling to the back. Fried actually getting 2 with Linkser in the follow-through. Vancouver still might hold this point.
Yeah, Fried Wiener trying to keep it alive, and Linkser helping out a little bit as well. Looking for that remet kill. Tons of fun. No, doesn't quite get it. Oh, doesn't get back in the mech at all. Shoyu Bin finds the kill there. This has been a scrappy point number 1 for both of these teams. Shock's still on the verge of taking it. Maybe if Nero can find a good pulse bomb, they can secure it. Looks like they have anyway. So it's all about the cleanup now for Shock. It's all about finishing the objective now and maybe finding a couple picks around the outside to make sure that Vancouver never gets a 6v6.
Yeah, the weird thing about that is that, you know, Vancouver, they actually could have blown the Transcendence there and when the fight was more even, because Fried had done a great job of, you know, bringing it back to a winnable fight, but, you know, Vancouver, they decided to save for what could be the final fight here. Linkser in on the side, very close to EMP. Needs to drop this EMP before a Pulse Bomb pick comes out. Vancouver engaging fast here is of maximum importance. Roof drops the Transcendence, Pulse Bomb in from there, though, strikes Fire out of the fight early. Linkser drops EMP, but it's after 2 already dead.
Well, the Dragon Strike comes through, doesn't really connect with anybody, and it looks like it's going to be a round win for Shock. As soon as they can finish off Linkser here, he's going to go ahead and teleport away. That should be it. San Francisco Shock secure the first point here on Oasis.
Yeah, and, you know, there were flashes of brilliance from Vancouver there where it not so much in terms of ult economy, where the ult economy was a little bit shaky, but just, you know, you mentioned the idea of scrappy fights where Vancouver was able to mechanically get some good picks, turn fights in ways that they probably shouldn't have been turned, but all in all, not enough to win the round.
Yep, that's right. So, you know, Vancouver, you know, we'll see what they can do here on our second round, but it's looking a little bit grim already. How much do you think that was a compositional mismatch too? Because I just feel like what the Titans were trying to use just weren't able to break through against Shock's kind of hardpoint composition.
Yeah, I mean, I think with what Vancouver was running, it was really reliant on Linkser getting big hacks and, like, quick EMPs. I don't think it was a huge mismatch per se, but Shock definitely had the neutral game advantage throughout the entirety of that, which put way more pressure on Vancouver to have clean engages.
Sure enough, well, Shock able to take the high ground early here as they drop down as the point unlocks. A couple hacks come through, and it looks like that might be something Titans can capitalize on.
Yeah, early pick on the Twilight. However, Fried gets caught, can't get away. And Smurf just walks him on Orisa, goes, I'm gonna walk forward, I'm gonna shoot this gun a lot. Odds is gonna clean up the scraps. And Vancouver quickly losing point A after what could have been a promising beginning.
Yeah, it's a bold move to name yourself Smurf in the esports landscape, but you know, if you're always smurfing like that, it fits.
Yep. He's been that in the Overwatch League for a long time, where very few people can say they're smurfing at the OWL level, but Smurf's one of them. And right here, right place, right time, just gets a walk forward, hold down left click, and let it fly.
Yep. And just walking the wood chipper there. San Francisco Shock hoping Nero's Pulse Bomb lets them keep the point going. That kill on a roll certainly does help.
Yeah, I mean, you get the Zen that early. Again, Shock get to take it easy, get to flex their neutral advantage here, given that, you know, they don't have a Sombra. Let Ons look for pickoffs, and, you know, Nero can just relax. Doesn't have to use the Pulse Bomb until Vancouver's back up to a full 6.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of wait for that push to start to coalesce, no pun intended, and then find a flank to throw the Pulse Bomb into. All right, high noon activated. Dalton gets caught by it. Oh, no. Oh, poor Titans. They never had a chance in this one.
Yeah, Dalton's been priority number 1 for the Shock DPS, it seems. Take down Dalton and go. We'll wait for Linkser or anyone else on the team to beat us. And, you know, thus far, with Dalton getting neutralized, it's been rough for Vancouver. Now, potentially heading into their final fight.
Yeah, I mean, Shock, too, they didn't really need to use a whole lot to repel that last attack. And it is starting to look like, unless Vancouver can really get something going here, it's going to be a quick 2-0 for the Shock here on Oasis, at least. We'll find out. Oh, no. Ons gets 2 to start things off. That is not what you want to see if you're a Vancouver fan.
Yeah, I think that was both window and supercharger, so Ons just had power upon power there and quickly flexed it upon Vancouver, and, you know, kind of ends the fight before it truly begins. Vancouver, though, you take a look, they have a huge amount of ults. The question is, can they get decent engage here? Chongsik is going to get an overtime, so this is still a winnable fight coming up for Vancouver.
Yeah, it's possible.
EMP comes out.
Oh, okay, that's a good start anyway, but no, they don't even get to the point. Oh, my, and San Francisco Shock able to take the first map of the series in short order. I'm not keeping track of the timers, EP. I know some people out are doing that out there, but that's got to be pretty close to what we saw back in the June Joust.
Yeah, that was fast, and a lot of it just comes down to the neutral game where, you know, the Shock were winning fights off poke before the full engage came in. Ons was just wild in terms of accuracy and early pickoffs, and yeah, I mean, Vancouver just was constantly on the back foot.
True enough. All right, well, a quick 2-0 on Oasis. Shock on the board. Don't go anywhere, though. We got another map coming up real quick here on the Overwatch League.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Overwatch League. Doa and ZP here. ZP shouldn't sound like a drive-through speaker anymore, so I think we're good here. But what's not so good is, unfortunately for Vancouver, they got rocked in the first map of the day. We'll see if they can pick it up, but San Francisco certainly looks like they came to play, don't they, ZP?
Yeah, San Francisco, I mean, this is what we expected. And also, when you have a big skill difference between the teams, you do see fights that are just won on a mechanical basis. And that was the story of all of Map 1, right? Where Ons in particular was on fire, landing pick after pick. And, the Shock were just outplaying in multiple facets of the game.
Yeah, we do see some subs as well. Super subbing in at the main tank role for Smurf, and Teru subbing in for Linkser at damage. So some swaps here and there as we go to our next map, which will be our assault map. It's going to be Volskaya Industries, and it remains to be seen if Vancouver can summon the strength today to try to come back and at least, make San Francisco work for it a little bit. Didn't really seem to be the case in map number 1, but you never know.
I think for Vancouver, their best hope of victory here is that they have to hope that Super's acumen on whatever hero he plays, might end up being Reinhardt here, is about the same level as acumen in Jump King that he was playing last night, where I did a little bit of research, and let me tell you, the man was failing jump after jump, and if his pins look as bad as his jumping last night, Vancouver actually could be in for a good time.
So he was more like Jump Duke or something like that, some lower level of the aristocracy of jumping. I understand.
More of like a prince.
Ryan.
That's
Jump Prince.
Yeah. Not in the line of succession though.
Ah, I see. All right. Well, let's check out this play from Chongsik from our last map. Oh, he just couldn't get to the point. I was wondering about that. Yeah, because we caught it from the side room at the end of this map, that last map, and wondered kind of how the Titans managed to not get there in time. And Chongsik apparently trying, but 1 millisecond or so too late. Vancouver is going to be on the defense here on Volskaya. A lot of teams prefer to start off on defense because you kind of get that benchmark of where you need to get to on attack then. Yeah. Makes sense.
And the benchmark after this for Vancouver might be go really fast, continue to hold W, because Shock, their team, that they definitely set quick times when they're on pace. And Ons right now, just going, does anyone dare challenge for a quick pick? It's not the case. Instead, swapping off the Shock. Now heading forward, but it's going to be a slower approach with the Orisa.
Yeah. All right. Teru is indeed playing the Pharah, so it was a good read by Ons early on to see if maybe that Pharah was going to poke her head out a little bit so he could try to take it off, but Teru doing the smart thing and waiting it out does show that Shock knows what they're up against. Twilight says, you know what, I'm a hit scan too, it's going to be fine. Violet gets in on the bloodthirsty action as well. It's a good start for San Francisco on the attack already.
Yeah, it's more than a good start. It's a fantastic start. I mean, losing 2 people that early, Fire going down, now 3 people.
Okay.
The point was already gone, Dylan. It's the Shocks.
Right. That's it.
Stick a fork in it.
Yep. Type the GG on point A at least. Point B is where the Vancouver Titans are going to need to put together their defense. But this was one of the quickest point A's I've seen in a while here. No recontest, obviously. And Ons already walking forward. The rest of the team going to follow soon, and we'll see how fast the Shock can get this done.
Yeah, I mean, that's a situation where Teru essentially aim-checked the Shock, and the Shock said, hey, our aim's pretty good. All 3 people that had hit scan just looked up, blasted them out of the sky, and, Chongsik no longer had cover, died immediately after. So it was a very quick escalation, though.
Looks like we have a little bit of a pause. Not sure which player called for that. Needs a little bit of work done on their computer, possibly. We'll see if we get back into the game sooner. This isn't going to work, though, Vancouver. You can't make the match longer like this. I don't know if it's Vancouver that paused it. Don't listen to me, but either way, we'll see. The vehicle of technology, as it were, ZP. Breaking down momentarily, but we'll be able to get back into it. Looks like both teams are ready. So quick pause. We're back into the action. Vancouver Titans in just a moment, trying to put some sort of defense together. In 3, 2, 1, and here we go.
Yeah, I mean, their best hope for a quick defense here is Dalton just, landing an arrow from afar. The problem is Shock are going to open up here with the window and immediately be applying even more pressure.
Right. Just kind of taking the side route here. Trying to let Super go first and be able to set it up for Ons to walk in a little bit safer. Looks like they'll do just that. Oh, Nero's Pulse Bomb did get eaten by Fried Wiener, so Rolf got a kill on Nero. It's an opportunity, at least. Ons is out for blood, though. Goes after Chongsik and finds him.
Yeah, he went for the Deadeye for the quick reload, going, I need more bullets, give it to me. We don't need the Tracer, who had his post-bomb and is like, dude, are you kidding me? No! Come on!
That did not just happen, ZP! That did not just happen like that! Are you kidding me? Vancouver Titans. I mean, nobody's going to be searching for the Sasquatch anymore, man. They're going to be like, yeah, it might be out there in the wilderness, but that is one cryptid we're not interested in anymore. I'm sorry, but that was a sad defense from the Titans.
AMC actually declined to pick up the show before it was even pitched. Because that
was not defense. That was nonsense.
Apparently not a top 5 time. Other teams have beefed harder on Volskaya Industries. The only takeaway there for Vancouver, I suppose.
I am shocked. I am shocked that's not a top 5 time actually for attack on Vancouver, or on the map rather. Maybe it is on the Vancouver Titans, but on the map at least. But either way, and the thing is the Titans had people nearby, didn't they? Didn't they have someone? They did, but Fried Wiener again. Oh, just couldn't get their Choyobin with the body block. Whoa! All right, nice moves from Choyobin, but still, that is about as rough as it gets for the Titans.
The thing I'll say, even though you have good body blocking going on to help enable that, there should be multiple layers of redundancy to touch a point. It should just be relying on one person while multiple people are still out, which is the real problem with that.
It looked like a rough fight for the Titans, right? But it didn't look like an immediate, round-ending fight, did it? But gotta shake it off. Goldfish brain, as Baby Bay used to say, right? If you're a pro player, you gotta forget that last round, focus on what's in front of you. And Vancouver Titans on the attack, they gotta get it done.
Yeah, I also like the Widow pick coming out here from Ons, where Teru already had a tendency to aim check in the last round. Aim checking a Widow can be pretty deadly. Widow, pretty hard to get value of nowadays. It's a lot weaker in terms of HP and escape, but if you land shots like Ons just did there, Doa, guess what? It can still be very effective. Although, as I say that, Chonsik hunted down Ons, and there's no mercy here for the Shock. He's dead for a while. He's probably coming back in on something else.
Yeah, I mean, Rolf is going to get back there a little bit quicker. Ons did not swap yet, walking back now. So, but Titans really not pushing in until right now to capitalize on it. Not sure if they're really going to be able to take advantage of the number situation as they might have otherwise. I need to wait for Rolf, though, I suppose.
They've waited a long time. Widow's actually going to have sight lines back in just a moment. Yeah. I mean, going for the aim check in over the top. For the most part, staying out the window. 2 HP down. Ons back into the fray.
Yeah, that's a very brave move from Teru to try to stare in through the window there a little bit. I mean, yeah, you're above it at quite a steep angle, but you can still shoot through that. And Shock able to get a pretty solid defense. No ticks taken yet by the Vancouver Titans.
Yeah, you take a look at this here. I mean, a lot of it, when you run a Far Mercy, you're hoping that the Far can take over the game. You want a situation like Naga had, right, where you're not really running into any hard counters and you're really good at the Pharah and just take over a fight. But that's not what you get when you go up against the Shock, especially with the Widow in the back line there. The Widow walls are out right now, and it's just forcing Vancouver to wait and wait.
Absolutely.
Or not wait to die.
Looking for picks, but he gets picked instead.
Yeah. Well, did not wait the requisite time for a better pick. Chonsik falling the Violet, and Doa, time gets away from us all here as it's only 1:40 left for Vancouver to make something happen.
That is very true, ZP. The time is ticking away for the Vancouver Titans to try to make something happen here on point A, but we've reached the moment where even if they do take point A, their time will be severely limited on point B, with a 5:10 on the clock for the San Francisco Shock. I don't know how you do it if you're the Titans.
I mean, 1 point at a time, one fight at a time. It's sort of a don't tell me the odds situation because the odds are so incredibly long against them that everything has to go right. Unfortunately, Teru goes down, which is very much wrong. The res is going to be there, but Vancouver has really struggled to put A pressure this far, and Teru's down again as Twilight just lights him up.
Oh man, C3PO wouldn't be able to calculate how bad these odds are now for the Titans.
No. C3PO, Doctor Strange, take whatever it is. The odds aren't going in Vancouver's favor right now. Not at all.
A couple kills for the Titans, but not enough to really make much of a difference. 35 seconds now for the Titans to try to take A, but the wind is out of their sails. The energy just isn't there, it looks like. It is a big pick onto Twilight. Maybe we spoke too soon.
Yeah, they're going to go for a Nano Barrage here in all likelihood, where you look at Teru. Nano's probably going to be incoming in a moment. Shock is going to be back up to 5, so it's really on the split second the Nano activates. Can Teru find something big? And the Shock, they're willing to give up progress on the point here. You look at it, 2 ticks already gone. They're going to wait till the last second. Here they go. But look, into the air. Dalton drops Pulse Bomb, gets nothing. The Nano's on Teru. Teru firing. Dalton gets an arrow. It's 1 pick so far. Barrage comes in, and they might have.
I think they do. I think they've got point A. Okay, so in the end, Titans doing a good job of capitalizing on a pick and sort of zoning their way into a point A take. That was just a lot of abilities used well as they finish off Violet to keep the Shock out. The threat of the Nano Barrage that you mentioned, the use of the Minefield by Chansik when Choyobin came in, was a very methodically executed point A for the Titans at the very end. But like I said, now just 2:30 on the clock.
Yeah, the problem for Vancouver is that they only actually get 1, maybe 2 fights to finish with time remaining here because, you know, if they finish overtime, it doesn't matter. But okay, that's huge. Teru, quick pickoff on the Narrow. Now 6 on 5. Teru coming in from the side. Needs to be a little bit more aggressive. Doing just that. Looking for the Brigida. Hovering over. Now, more Rockets gets Twilight. It's 2 early picks out for Vancouver. Make it 3. The Pharah getting some big momentum here as Vancouver might just get the point with time after all.
Oh, Teru just trying to put this team on his back right now. Dalton helping out, though. And the Titans may actually be able to take this. We'll see. San Francisco Shock's defense collapsing a little bit here.
Yeah, Teru this time was able to get through, landed good rockets, wasn't under too much pressure. Twilight gonna drop the window. Vancouver has to be real careful not to lose anyone in this moment. They get Choi out of the mech. Teru to the back, off the Nano. 50 HP, gets healed back up. Barrage over the top. Teru continuing to light up the Shock here, Doa. And it's exactly what Vancouver needs to have a chance of staying in this map. And they've just about done it.
I mean, Shock just can't seem to handle the Pharah right now from Teru. And Dalton on the side kind of doing a good job of capitalizing on all the chaos that Teru's producing. They're on the verge of actually capturing with time remaining.
Teru under heavy pressure from the Shock, especially in the hit scan end. Has to back out for a moment. Dalton, meanwhile, on the ground, taking ball advantage. On's out of the fight. Dalton continuing to move forward. Immortality field gone. The kill feed filling with blue. Pride gets demexed, but still not too big of a deal. Vancouver keeping on the pressure. Shock, though, trying to drain the clock here, Doa. They've done a really good job of it, and now we're under a minute. Vancouver needs to clean out this last little bit. They're almost there, but not quite yet.
Yeah, the strategy has been good for Shock to just send people on, just stagger as much as they can. Say, you know what, we acknowledge you're probably going to take this point, but we are going to make sure that you do it with as little time remaining as possible. And man, this is one of the best staggers I've seen in a long time, actually.
This would be unreal if Shock was able to bring the clock all the way down to 0. It's becoming more and more likely. They got more people onto point. They might even outright win the fight the way this is going. Oh, Deadeye gets 2. Oh boy, that's probably it. Vancouver so close, yet so far.
This is a nightmare. Vancouver Titans had 2 minutes where they were less than a tick away from taking the point. But the San Francisco Shock staggered masterfully. They held. Can they finish it? We're into overtime.
Overtime's in progress, but it might be a very short time. Doa, Rule picked up by Nair in the back. On's back in his happy spot on top. Pride out of the fight. And that is going to be it. The Shock go up 2-0 here in the series off a relentless defense here on point B.
Wow, and that is backbreaking for the Vancouver Titans to come so close to continuing it. You could see the frustration, but credit to Shock for holding on. I was not expecting them to be able to prevent the Vancouver Titans from capturing, but just a really, really great stagger and then a good last fight.
Yeah, and you know, I feel bad for Teru here, where Teru's just like, surely we got this. Can't ask much more for Pharah on that sequence of plays, but the Shock, they managed to keep it in contest long enough for that turnaround to happen. And now Vancouver looking for the reverse sweep here, Doa, if they want to make anything else happen here in the Countdown Cup.
True enough. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll see if San Francisco can seal the deal with a 3-0 or if the Titans bring it back. Don't go anywhere. Overwatch League returns right after this.